to my channel. My name is Priyanka, but I go by Peri Peri, hence why the channel is called Peri Perianka. I am so glad that you have decided to join me for this episode, and if you are one of the people that I've forced to listen to or watch this video slash episode, thank you so much for doing that. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. The idea behind this series is just going to be me recording a couple of conversations that I have by myself or with other people, hopefully in the future, regarding topics that I find relevant and important, things that I think people should be having conversations about, and just sort of, I'm not going to commit to a schedule or plan episodes just yet, because I'm not, if you know me, I'm not great with following through with those. So hopefully, I'll have a couple of different episodes, different topics. I know I did a podcast, I can't remember how many years back, I think it was last year, where I did the podcast about self-love, and that was more of a scripted podcast. I say podcast in air quotes because it wasn't really a podcast, but I liked it, but I want something more casual, just like conversation that people can listen to either passively in the background or actively listen to, kind of just have it as something that's sort of this faceless voice of wisdom. No, I'm joking, I'm not really wise, but I'm just a casual conversation where I talk about important / relevant topics that I hope some people will enjoy. I hope people do enjoy them. And I know this isn't going to be for everyone, but if it is for you, then hopefully I'll keep that in mind, and I'll try and keep a regular posting schedule. But if I don't, do expect one now and again. I hope to do a couple of these. This first one is just going to be sort of an introductory episode, introducing myself. Which seems a bit redundant if the people that are watching this originally are going to be people that know me. But in case that someone doesn't know me, comes across this video, welcome. Really great to meet you, by the way. Not really meeting you though, but you know what I mean. Say hello in the comments, I guess. So just kind of introduce myself, and hopefully it'll provide some sort of insight into what you can expect from this series. The kind of talking style that I do. I have a tendency to go blank and not know what I'm saying, and have 3 minutes of silence. Sometimes I mumble, sometimes I talk too fast, sometimes I talk too slowly. I don't know if I have a monotone voice. I don't know, I can't tell. My voice, I don't like the sound of my voice, so I don't know how I'm gonna listen to this and edit it, because that should be interesting, because that's one of the problems that I've had in the past, where I've recorded something and it was 6 minutes long, and I was like, oh, let's listen to this, and I'm like, oh, I get 30 seconds into it and I can't listen to it anymore. I'm like, if I can't listen to it, how are other people meant to listen to it? So I'm just gonna record something and put something out there, and hopefully someone out there will like it. If not, I'll just pretend it's something that's just for me, that I did for myself, which you can do. You can post things online for yourself. The first question I guess I'll answer is what I do, a little bit about myself. I am 21. I've just finished a 3-year course at the University of Nottingham, psychology course. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next, because I'm waiting for my results, and I'm waiting very anxiously. I'm terrified. I hate waiting for results. If I knew what I was going to get before I did the exam, which I know sounds stupid, but if I had some sort of superpower that told me that this is what I was going to get, even if it was you're going to fail, I'd rather know before. But yeah, I just hate waiting for results. Anything to stop that waiting period, great for me. That's what I'm doing, waiting for my results. I moved out for university, actually, because I live 3.5 hours away from where my university is. and I'm back home now because of all the things that are happening, and also because I finished my degree. But yeah, it took me 3 years to realise that, because I struggled at university, I struggled a lot, and it took me 3 years to realise that the reason that why I was struggling at university was because I never dealt with the fact that I'm bad at dealing with change. Like, moving to university is obviously a huge, big change. You're moving away from the people you know, you've been at high school, secondary school for a really long period of time, and then suddenly you've moved 3.5 hours away and you're living by yourself and you're expected to do things for yourself. Like, I'm not bad at doing things for myself, but the whole process was just so different to life at home. And I thought I'd dealt with the change quite well, and I thought I was dealing with it well. But it turns out now that the whole reason why I struggled was because I never dealt with the problem. So yeah, that was a great insight to get after I'd finished university. So I do hope to be doing a couple of different series on university advice as well, and hopefully I'll have other people join me on the conversation that are more expert, because clearly I am not an expert on how to deal with university. But yeah, that is something to keep in mind. I thought I'd share that because it was a really interesting insight for me anyway. Next question. Where are you from? I hate this question. I've talked about it on my blog. Oh yeah, I had a blog once upon a time. I don't know what happened to that. I don't even know if I know how to log into it anymore. But basically in my blog, I answered the "where are you from" question, but I went into this huge rant about, not really a rant, but I was explaining why I don't like that question, because depending on who's asking you, they expect different answers. So like, some people are like, "where are you from," but like in an ethnically way, and other people are like, "where are you from," like where you born. And yeah, that's just a very confusing question for me. Like, do you want to know where I'm from, or are you like one of those people that are like, "where are you from?" So ethnicity wise, I'm Sri Lankan Tamil. So my parents were born in Sri Lanka and then they moved here, and I was born in the UK. I said here as if you guys knew where here is. Yeah. So I was born in the UK, but I'm Sri Lankan Tamil. So hopefully in the future there'll be a couple of videos where it's all in Tamil, and yeah, my Tamil's not great, just as a warning, but it's enough that people can understand what I'm saying. Like, I've noticed, like, I mean, generally speaking, everyday conversation I can speak Tamil quite well, but there are certain topics that when I'm trying to explain to my mum, when I'm talking about certain issues, she has no idea what I'm talking about because I don't know the correct words for it. But yeah, recently I've widened my vocabulary regarding said issues, but yeah, maybe I'll bring my mum in, have a conversation with her, and she can explain to people what I'm trying to say when I say certain things. There are two words that always get confused, and they are words that should not be confused. My mum gets very offended when I confuse those two words, so I won't say what they are because there's no point. But yeah, I need to, like, there are words like that I need to improve on, and I have yet more vocabulary to learn. I don't know where else going with that. Oh yeah, another series I planned, I think last year actually. I planned a series where I got children and kids and teens or whatever to talk about, in Tamil, talk about certain topics that they wish they could discuss with their parents, in a way that their parents wouldn't be dismissive of them. They didn't want, because generally what happens is Tamil parents will be like, so the kids will come in, try and have a conversation with them, and then the parents will be like, "You're too young to be talking about that. You're too young to understand why things are done in a certain way." And or something my mum says all the time is, "It's in our blood. We've done it for years, and it's something that can't be changed." I'm like, it can be changed. It's not literally in your blood. Yeah. I mean, I try to give her examples of times when things have changed, and it's just, yeah, it's quite frustrating. But I feel like the hope with this series was to get the kids to talk about that, to have their say, talk about the topic in the way that they wanted to in Tamil, and then get their parents to watch that video, react to that video, and then say like what their own viewpoint, and then following that, just have the conversation going on like that regarding several different topics. Because before on Instagram, when I'd ask people what sort of things that they'd like me to talk about, or what topics they'd like that series to focus on. Those people had really good suggestions. One of the common topics was actually love marriage, and the second common one was what was the second common one? I think it was something about careers and education. How not everyone should have to go to university and become a doctor or a lawyer or engineer. I think that's the second most. So those were them, and I thought they were really good topics, and I think they are conversations that you should be able to have openly with your parents. So I thought that video series would be quite a good one. Have not yet decided how I want to execute that idea, but I think one of the problems I had was people were camera shy, didn't want to be in front of the camera. So I feel like this kind of audio recording with the pretty screen, I'm hoping pretty screen, would work better, kind of like a radio style. So if you listen to radio, and it still has some sort of effect on people, you don't need a face behind the voice to be able to relate to it. The voice itself is powerful, and it's a start, and I think more people will be open to just recording that audio. Next question is, who inspires you? Now, I kind of wrote these questions out earlier, and because I went on this website and I was like, 317 questions to get to know yourself. Wow, that's a lot of questions. A lot of them were the same questions, to be honest, and but I was like, I'm not going to answer all of those, so I just picked a couple out, and I should have thought about the questions a bit better, because who inspires you? That's a hard question. You see, you can tell I have no idea what I'm going to say because I'm rambling now. But the thing with people inspiring me is, throughout different stages in your life, different people inspire you for different things. And right now, the sort of people that I find inspiring are the people that are using their platforms and their voices for the right things, speaking up about issues that should have been spoken about a long time ago. People who are addressing issues that are quite sensitive, and people have found difficult to have conversations about before or previously. They're addressing those issues, and they're trying to take action on those issues, and they're trying to make a change, which I really appreciate, and I find that really brave, and I find it's a good use of their platform as well, and they inspire me to make changes in my own life. They inspire me to educate myself, and they inspire me to use platforms as well to make differences and changes where I can. And also, when you look at people for inspiration, you don't just look at them for their good qualities, do you? You look at them for how they deal with their negative qualities as well. I find that anyway. I find it really admirable when a person is like, okay, I'm not great, I'm not the best person in the world, but they can admit that, and they can admit their flaws, and they can show that this is how they're dealing with their flaws, and this is how they're working on becoming a better version of themselves, or becoming a better person. I find that really admirable. Because it's something that I want to be able to do. I want to be able to address my flaws and my insecurities and work on them, and in attempt to be the best version of. I know it could be really cringy when people are like, the best version of yourself, because there is no best version of yourself, is there? The best version of yourself is always changing, and it's kind of you're just growing, really, aren't you? And I want to be able to grow more. And one of the ways to do that is to address those flaws and those insecurities, which I have a lot of, by the way. And just be happy. Being happy with who I am and confident with who I am as a person. I think, people who inspire me to do that are the people that inspire me. Does that make sense? Does that answer the question without answering the question? I think it does. I think I can move on to the next question, which is, what's your favourite quote? And I found this really funny, actually, because back in the day, I used to be a huge quotes person. I used to be that kid that I don't know if many people did this, they probably did. It was probably always it's probably normal. what's your favourite? I forgot what I was saying, that's why I had to repeat the question. So what I was saying was, it's probably normal, but back in the day, I used to have this massive book. Well, I had loads of different books actually, with different quotes written in them, and like I used to collect pictures of quotes and stuff and print them out. And I had quotes everywhere, and I was a huge quotes person. But right now, I can't think of my favourite quote. Can I? I think actually, relating back to what I said before about growing as a person and stuff, there is this quote about not being a masterpiece or something like. Let me find it actually. It's got to be here somewhere. Here it is. It's actually quite a popular quote actually. So the quote is, "You are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress." And I think it's by Sophia Bush. Yeah. "You're allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously," by Sophia Bush. And I love that quote because it's true, because you can be both. And it took me a long time to realise what that quote meant and what it meant for me, but I think I understand it now. And I think, like, I like to remind myself, because I have this huge issue of, like, when people misunderstand me, I don't like it. It frustrates me, it makes me uncomfortable, and I feel like I have to explain myself. But the truth is, you don't have to explain everything to people, and sometimes you make decisions and that's fine, and like not everyone's going to understand it, and you say things and not everyone's going to understand it, and that's also fine. But I used to think that I had to explain every single thing that people mistook me for, but them mistaking it, misunderstanding something you said or done is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's not, it might seem like a misunderstanding from your end, but from their end it's not a misunderstanding. That is how they've understood it, and that is how they perceive it rightly from their perspective. And that's fine, because different people are going to have different perspectives and different experiences in their lives that are going to make them think that way. And just because they've misunderstood what you've said or done doesn't make you a bad person, and it doesn't mean that they hate you. It doesn't mean that you have to explain everything that you've done and your whole life story to them. No, it just means that you see something differently and they've seen something differently. And sometimes the best thing to do is just to apologise and say, "I'm sorry that you've taken it this way. That's not how I meant it." Or maybe just I don't even know if you should try and explain it. I mean, obviously it depends on the situation, but I found that in the past I've tried to explain it, and it's more so a case of trying to explain it to myself than to other people. But I didn't have to, I didn't need to, and I was just stressing myself over something that didn't need that much stress. And I actually wrote something, because I used to write. I don't know if I mentioned, but I did have a blog. I think I did. But yeah, I used to post on the blog and on Instagram regularly things that I wrote, and I enjoy writing. But right now, I haven't found any inspiration to write anything. Usually, it just happens in the moment. I just feel the urge, the need to write it out. But recently, that has not happened to me. But I wrote this thing. I think a couple of years ago now, or last year. And I think it perfectly describes the situation that I'm in constantly. And I feel like it's relatable for most people. So this is what it was. Over the years, I lost my voice. I forgot who I was and what I stood for. I spent years running away from who I was whilst trying to be someone I thought they wanted me to be. I hid the parts of me I thought they wouldn't like. I hid the parts of me I thought they wouldn't understand. I tried to mould myself into this perfect being, someone everyone loved. I tried so hard to be good to everyone, but now I'm tired from the years of running from who I am. I'm exhausted from trying to be the person they wanted me to be. So with the little energy I have, I am desperately sprinting back to the person I want to be. And I think that last sentence desperately sprinting back to the person I want to be is where I'm at right now. I've spent a lot of my time, a lot of my life, I'm not that old, but I've spent a lot of it trying so hard to be this perfect child, this perfect kid, this perfect friend. And the truth is, nobody's perfect, right? And not everyone is going to like you, and not everything you say is going to come across as you want it to everyone. So I think now I'm learning to just be myself, continue to grow and continue on my journey, the one that I've chosen for myself. And I'm really fortunate to have met some really amazing people who have encouraged me to be myself more, and I've learned to appreciate myself more as well. And I think that's really important. So I think that's part of the reason why I've started this series now, the way that I have. It's not perfect. Like, this episode was not scripted. There's a lot of umming and ahhing, there's a lot of waffle, there's a lot of pauses probably, I don't know, I'll have to listen back to it. I'm probably going to hate listening back to it. I'm probably going to get into the first 30 seconds and be like, oh my god, what am I on? I'll probably hate listening to my voice, but it's fine. This is who I am, and this is me figuring out my life, basically. And I thought it'd just be nice to document this process, as well as talk about some of the things that are really important, have conversations about things like moving to uni and the conversations that Tamil kids wish they could have with their Tamil parents, and some of the issues in our culture as well. There are I love Tamil culture. There are some traditions that I love. There's some things about the Hindu religion, because I'm a Hindu technically, about my religion that I love, but there are loads of things that I don't love as well, or things that I wish would change, or I wish people would be open-minded about. And I think one of the ways to do that is to have conversations, and then when the conversations don't work, provide the facts as well, which hopefully I'll be able to do as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully I will be posting regularly, and it's an imperfect, perfect episode, start to the series. I hope this gave you some insight into what you can expect from future episodes. A lot of rambling, a lot of me not knowing what I'm talking about, but I'll try my best to make it as good as possible. And however way you wish to listen to it, actively or passively, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it's something that you want to share with other people as well, and brings something to you, adds something to your life as well. And yeah, my throat is going, so I'm gonna pause this, I'm gonna stop this, and yeah, see you guys soon, I guess, or hear you guys soon, I don't know. Yeah, bye for now, bye.